shown the first time. The second time, you're a little more clued in because you've been more prepared mentally. But if it wasn't for the way that Jeffrey Dean Morgan sells that, the way that he taps into something, into that performance that Rick has, it would have never been as convincing. You would have never, ever even thought that it was her. I think that was a team effort to be able to pull that scene off. And it was done really well, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it was just, I don't know. It kind of reminded me of The Bullet, when Rosita misses, and we were just talking about how he figured it all out, that it was homegrown, that it was a homegrown bullet and everything.
Right.
And I'm there. That's what it kind of made me think of. So that's why, are we giving, Negan so much credit that he's able to figure out their emotions, like the root of their emotions whenever they're feeling something. And I'm like, my God, like, why is he so on point? He's Murdoch Mysteries to me now.
Can I mention something from the comics quickly?
Go ahead.
From this scene. So in the comics, Rick at this point in the storyline is dating Andrea.
Right.
Now, it's Andrea, a blonde-haired woman, wrestling with another blonde-haired woman. Same skin color. Just from a distance, they're indistinguishable.
Oh, I see.
And
I see what you're playing on.
Rick knows Andrea's up there. He looks up. He sees this blonde woman get thrown off of the building, fall to her death. And to me, that made sense. This, to me, seemed like they were trying to pull something from the comics and just like forcing a square peg into a round hole. Like they're just trying to get it in there just for the sake of keeping some similarities from the comic, but I didn't feel like it worked. I appreciated what they were doing, but I didn't like it.
I find it still works. Just from a distance, I feel like from the distance that they were, you just see black shadows in a way. So I don't know if how distinguishable it would have been if it was two blonde women going it out at it and then, one of them being thrown off. I don't know how distinguishable it would have been on camera as well as it was on a comic, but that's my argument.
You know what? I want to ask you guys this also, because I'm sure that you guys have covered it, but I haven't heard it firsthand. Now knowing that that's supposed to be Andrea from the comic in their translation, if they are fitting the round peg into a square hole, for me, Michonne has become one of the weakest characters, one of the throwaway characters over the last couple seasons, especially. Whatever made her that mystique has been completely pulled out. And I haven't read the comics a whole lot, but just seeing it's become one of my least favorite characters. Matthew, are they channeling Andrea through Michonne now? They're trying to make her that kind of character? Because if that's the case, honestly, I don't care if she dies in there or not. I hope she falls off the ledge.
Yeah, they've definitely been pulling some of what Andrea's character has turned into, and they're kind of morphing the two together because in the comic book, Andrea was a sniper, and now we see Michonne it's kind of they're joking around with it a bit because Michonne seems to be a terrible sniper, but for some reason they keep giving her that position.
Yeah, I feel like it's I only thought less of Michonne only recently. Like we mentioned a couple of episodes ago, saying that Michonne is becoming weaker. She's not becoming that crazy survivalist that she was.
Right
now, she's just she's all soft on Rick, and fine, you could be soft, but man, have some integrity, like the integrity that you've had when you first came in.
She was also the most talkative out of the two on the roof. Did you find that weird that she's the most talkative person?
I feel just because she's insecure because now Rick made lay with a garbage pail kid.
Well, it's just that other garbage pail kid was...
Oh, whatever. They could all join in. They live in the garbage. They live in a dumpster. They share their orgies.
I
really paint you an image, don't I, guys?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Yes. So Negan does another little speech to Rick here. Now, one thing I want you to remember is when he says, after that woman falls, who Rick thinks is Michonne, he says, "That is timing." Now, remember the timing part.
That is self-aware. That is breaking down the fourth wall.
Yeah, I love it.
That is.
And then he's like, "I'm going to kill Carl now. I'm going to do it in one swing because I like him. And then Lucille is going to take your hands, Rick."
Right.
And Rick is really cool with all this. I mean, he's not sobbing. There's not snot coming out of his nose. He's taking all this at face value. He's just saying, you could do anything you want.
But I wouldn't
kill Carl in front of me. Take my hands. None of that is going to change the fact that I'm going to kill you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but nothing is going to change that. Nothing. You're already dead. I'm pretty sure killing Rick in that moment would stop Rick from killing Negan.
Exactly, but Negan wants to keep Rick around. He just loves Rick so much, and I just find it weird. It would have been funny to have like Carl's reaction when he says, "Fine, you could kill him right in front of me," because he repeated what he said, and just to see Carl's reaction, just be like, "Hey," and I feel like because outside the lens, like backstage, Charlie and Rick supposed to be supposedly going to college, so like, was this going to be his moment? But
were you guys worried for Carl at all?
A little bit.
No,
a little bit.
I mean, that bat came up. It was a hair away from him, and the timing plays out right here, where Rick did nothing to save Carl's life. It was all just a convenient. It was just all timing.
But to credit Rick, I mean, like, okay, so he's been through this before. Obviously,
he doesn't know a tiger's going to jump out of nowhere.
No, not that. I'm just saying, like, just the fact that he decided to say what he said and decided to like really stick to what he said at the beginning of the season to show that nothing's changed is because he already cried, he already sobbed in front of Negan, he already did all these things, he already technically bowed down to him.
I agree.
So at this point, if they're at the same position, if they're at the same position again, you might as well show no sorrow and just just do it, just that's it. I'm ready for it. I've done everything I can. I've exhausted all my resources until the shit that comes up behind me in 2.5 seconds later. Just do it. Get it over with.
Yeah, I've already cried once for you, Carl.
Exactly. I'm not crying again. Cry me once, make me cry again.
Well, it's your classic redemption story, and I think that's one of the wise things they did with the end of the season is they put Rick right back up on his high horse. And I love the fact of how Negan's reaction is when he does that. You see him kind of break down a little bit, and it's a nice role reversal for what they do. And it's not nearly as effective if they allow it. But Carl, you know how much they love Carl. They're never going to get rid of Carl until Carl's ready to walk away.
He's the future.
Old man Carl.
But it would have been funny to see Negan start breaking down and crying. He's like, "No, don't make me do it. Come on, Rick. No."
And Rick's telling him, "Do it.
Do it. Speak when you're spoken to."
Can you imagine a world where Morgan took just a little longer to agree to come with Ezekiel? And Ezekiel shows up, yelling out, "Alexandra will not fall today." But he's like, "Oh man, Carl's dead. Rick, you got stumps for hands."
I don't know, man. It's all about the tiger. It's all the timing on how he let go of that chain of the tiger.
I need to go into the weeds a bit on this tiger business.
Yeah, how does he not?
I want a little bit of. Maybe you guys can help me out here, but okay, it was admittedly a pretty cool scene. This is what I've been waiting for: is this tiger to like do some damage? But
Richard Parker. I'm kidding.
When did King Ezekiel have time to train a tiger to kill a human? I mean, he was a tiger at a zoo, and he was trained to, stay at bay. But how he's killing a human, and not one of the humans on their knees. He's not killing Rick. He's not killing Carl. He's killing a savior.
Right.
Now, getting past that, if you can train the tiger to kill a savior, why kill the savior standing behind Negan?
Oh, wasn't Shiva going after Negan, and then he kind of dodged it in a way?
No, the tiger ran up and jumped right behind him.
Because what if that's... Okay, what if that tiger jumped up at Rick instead of like, wrong guy?
That's it. Like, I don't feel like that tiger has adequate training, and I don't feel like Ezekiel has the knowledge of how to train a tiger to kill humans and to kill specific humans.
Trust in the writing crew of The Walking Dead. Come on, man.
I saw Negan escape tiger death twice in this episode,
and give the finger at the end.
Well, because a little later he gets up and he leaves, and then that tiger comes and kills the guy who was standing right in Negan's place.
Yeah, he's like, "Well, damn tiger!" He started reacting to it.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good. I'm okay with it because I don't want to see Negan get killed by a tiger anyway. It's not going to be satisfying.
Are you sure?
Yeah, guys, can I ask you this, because I think it's foreshadowing how close the aspect of the king is going to get to Negan. Do you guys think that King Ezekiel as well as Negan are going to be at the end of the next season? They're going to be facing off, and it might be a transitional point.
I don't know. It's Rick and Negan have so much at stake with each other. So I mean, I don't know how much I'm going to be very curious of how Ezekiel's going to be involved in the next season, because he hasn't, like you said, he hasn't met Negan. He's only dealt with what's his name, Gavin from the exchanges. So I don't know. That's a good question. I don't have a good answer for it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's met Negan once. When they bashed in like a kid's brains. I think that was the only time. The idea that the kingdom and the hilltop came in to save the day at the same time, but separately, and just at the witching hour, at the last moment. That bothered me. Like I was thinking one of the groups would end up doing that. I didn't think two groups would do that.
Yeah, and then it's true. But it was basically like a mock-up of the two towers, basically.
Right.
Yeah. And King Ezekiel comes in like pretty heroic too. Every savior and their accomplices, Alexandria will not fall. Not
Alexandria
on this day.
shall not fall. Very Gandalf.
And then you get to see so much great stuff. You get to see all the groups finally together fighting. We see Shiva ripping up saviors, probably some Alexandrians too, because
For all we know.
tiger. It's hectic. Maggie leading the hilltop. The Morgan killing, just left and right. That nod between him and Rick.
That brohod and that bronhod.
Yeah, you get Carol back at it. The music was amazing.
Yes.
Just like building up. Negan.
Carol deserves her own anthem.
Yeah.
Okay?
And then Negan and Simon just being so bewildered and vulnerable when he's like, it's a goddamn tiger. And then he looks over and he sees Maggie shooting and it's like, that widow is alive. Guns ablazing. He's like, finally seeing him just a bit vulnerable was
it's like, they
gratifying.
lied to me.
Yeah. And then the garbage people retreat and...
this whole time, I was like, I wanted that tiger to hit Dwight so badly. I wanted that tiger to tear up Dwight, just even out his face.
Well, Dwight has some room to grow.
I know,
so
apparently he does, but just the way it happened at the end, I didn't like that at all, actually.
No.
Yeah, I was like, just the way, how does Daryl find that little wooden figure at the very end at the door? Like, how do you know Daryl's going to close the door that night?
Well, why would you not close the door?
Why would it be Daryl?
Right, exactly.
There you go. Okay.
Why would it be Daryl closing that door and finds that stupid thing?
Yeah.
And at least have him like if he sees Daryl and he just drops it or something. I don't know what, but I don't know. I think Daryl will shot him on sight anyway. So
it's so cinematic and so beautiful, guys. The way they have that closure. It's probably for me one of the most perfect moments of the entire season. That battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish
agree.
it lasted a little longer, and I wish there was I just wish there was more of it.
I guess we got to see
it's
the
coming.
war.
The war is coming.
I wish the war would happen on the half season, and then they'll go on to something else on the next half of the season.
Yeah, like I
wish but they won't do it. They'll have the war, in a year. That's what they're going to do.
Well, I don't know. They've been doing weird things with the half seasons. It's like they're so I don't know exactly how. None of us know, I guess. But.
That's AMC. They're the signature half season channel. Yeah, it starts with Breaking Bad. So yeah.
So they garbage people escape. Negan, Simon, the surviving saviors, they escape.
He gives the finger. Remember that? Just drives off the finger with like a hail of bullets, and he still manages to give the finger. I was freaking out. Like, okay, all right, exactly. You see like the leather glove right there, just like
God, the worst thing possible you could have. I mean, that open window. How do they miss? God.
It's probably like even a roll-up window too. He doesn't even rush to like roll it up. He leaves it open the whole time.
He's telling
they're all aiming at him. At least have him clip him a bit. Let him clip that finger. That would have been cool. But yeah, that would have been pretty. But no, the Walking Dead. No, he's got it because Jay, you've noticed this. His wrist is bandaged, right? That
goes back to like episode 10, maybe even more than that. Back when Spencer died, you started to notice that with it. So. It's very but that's the thing, they leave so much about him still left. I can't wait to see, and I hope the half season does this, where they start to build a little bit of story on where Negan came from, because I think that's what's needed to know why he ended up there. That's one of the things I loved about the governor, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I loved about the governor that they gave some of the backstory that brought him to there, instead of just making him this figure that is without reproach, without any sort of story. He's almost the devil. I want to see backstory.
I agree with what they did with it. I like what we saw finally with the governor, but I think Matthews mentioned it before. Remember how you said, it's something that should have happened from the beginning instead of having it, the whole ordeal happen and then to have it happen again. You were saying that before, weren't you?
Oh yeah.
Every time we talk about the governor, it's always like it always leaves a sour taste in our mouths.
Yeah, but this one seemed like a battle that leads up to a war.
That's true.
The stuff with the governor just seemed like a way to drag on the story.
That's true. Yeah.
Rick and Carl find out the Michonne's still alive, badly beaten.
The best sight for a dead body. They were so happy to see that woman dead.
Right. Like... they really acted like they won something. I mean,
yes.
Pretty much what happened was terrible because they don't have an element of surprise anymore. They lost, I'd say, quite a few Alexandrians.
Yeah.
All the guns they took, they still have some, but a lot of them are gone.
Yeah.
They don't have the help of the garbage people. If anything, now they just have more enemies.
But that's so easy. You just set that place on fire.
Yeah,
right. Huge rapid fire. Just that's it.
But
just
I'm just
torch
saying they've set themselves back quite a bit.
Yeah, they did.
So,
I mean, you know what I thought? Instead of the tiger happening, I really thought like Michonne would have sniped Negan, but just nicked